Welcome back to the Now Morning Show, and we are continuing to unpack Carnival 2023, the mother of all carnivals, and we're going to switch gears now to talk about how to make Carnival the greatest show on earth. And so joining me this morning, we have Miss Cathy-Ann Boucaud from Coca of course, the parent company, which is the Coca crew, and also Gleeson Job from House of Siete Marketing. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
so
you
we've been
for having
talking
us.
all morning, of course, about unpacking Carnival, and I wanted both of you specifically to talk about how to make it the greatest show on earth, but as we focus on events. I'm going to come to you first, Cathy-Ann, because of course this is Coca Cruz Juve.
Coco Devil's Juve, yes.
Yeah, it is Juve, yeah. Of course, Juve is a mainstay in Carnival. I wanted to first find out how was the experience for you this year after 2 years of us having that inactivity to coming back on the road for Carnival Monday.
Getting back on the road was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, we did have some challenges in the organizational part of it in terms of attaining licenses and approvals and stuff. We got some stuff held up by customs, you know, and the clear stuff to be ready early, you know. So kind of pushed the timeline very close to the end, whereas we would have liked to have it a week earlier maybe, you know, so that we could have been really organized and not hustling in the end. But not bad, but being back on the road was beautiful. I mean, the masqueraders, you know, everybody was like, yes, finally we back out here, you know. But so it went well. The Juve went well, you know.
Now, you mentioned some challenges you had in terms of course, getting the materials and that sort of thing. Was there anything that the crew could have done to prevent that sort of thing from happening?
You know, shipping and handling, we depend on that. You know, we have no control over that. You know, so some stuff got held up in Jamaica before coming into Trinidad, and then to clear in Trinidad and inspect, and you know, those are things that are out of our control. The orders were in long in advance, but these things, you know, we do have a pulse on that. You know, you depend on your providers for that, and then they depend on the authorities to get these things done, you know, quickly, you know. All in all, we got it done eventually, you know, in time to hit the road on Monday morning. But it could have been made a lot easier if the timelines had worked out a little better, you know. Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to come to you because I want to borrow on your years of doing events and that sort of thing. We would have heard from the promoters since before Carnival started in terms of they didn't feel as if they were part of the conversation when the whole mother of all carnivals was being planned. In addition to that, they had some issues in terms of how security was going to go for the event, the payments that some of the other sectors were demanding for them to ensure that the parties were safe. I mean, coming out of this Carnival, what are some of the things or some of the opinions that you're getting from this one?
Well, it's interesting because when the whole concept of the Mother of All Carnival came out, some of the promoters were like, well, I'm not too sure how that is going to pan out because in order to have the Mother of All Carnival, that is, you're talking about close to 2 years of preparation. We had less than a year to prepare for what is called the Mother of All Carnivals. A lot of promoters had a lot of different challenges. And many different things, some of it out of our control. But what I would admit is that it was just good to have events happening, seeing suppliers who had tents, tables, infrastructure in their warehouses for the last 2 years, not seeing them coming out, finally making money, having their staff come out. Just seeing that definitely felt good because people have to understand that Carnival is not just events, it's a whole ecosystem. And then it trickles down to all these different suppliers who depend on Carnival to survive. So from an event perspective, I would admit that there were a lot of different challenges behind the scenes because some promoters decided that, as you would see in terms of the ticket prices, they want to make back all the money that they would have lost in the last 2 years. And then some of them were smart in terms of, listen, this is an opportunity to reset, and they would have, you know, tailored their event to suit. So it was about having the event money, trying to make all the money that you can, you know.
Was one decision better than the other in terms of keeping it at a minimum or the same cost to reset, or increasing to make back what was lost?
Interestingly enough, even because of the rising costs and everything, even though you would have cut back, it was still costly, you know. So some people would have adjusted their numbers. Your fete might have had about 7,000. So the cost to do a fete for 7,000 was almost the same price as doing one for 4,000 because everybody's price went up. But I think a lot of promoters made it happen. Of course, you would notice on social media a lot of people complaining the prices were too high. And as a promoter, I would agree that I saw some prices for some events. I was like, that's kind of high for a cooler fete. But they don't each their own. They know in terms of their business and their budget who they're getting their equipment from. So I guess the price went up, so they had to adjust that. And of course, it trickled down to who? To the patrons. It trickled down to the small man to pay. You know, so it was a very interesting carnival for promoters, for event practitioners. Some people won, some people didn't. And then you saw a lot of new players in the game because in people's mind, listen, there's the mother of all carnival. That means everybody will spend money.
Something. Yes, yes.
Yeah, and that wasn't the case.
Right.
You know, a lot of people were very selective. Listen, because there was so much events. You know, well, I could miss this one because I could go this one. And then a lot of people, friends, were now doing new events. So they kind of clash between, well, because I'm supporting this event, but my friend, he or she doing something and I want to support them. Yeah. So there was a lot of options on the board. And that now kind of, I wouldn't say watered down, but because there was so much option, people kind of like, well, you know, stay away from this and I'll put that.
Well.
Exactly. As you mentioned, they were very selective. Yes,
you know,
yeah.
So you really had to pick and choose.
Exactly.
You know, where I really want to go to. You know?
So then is it that this carnival was not the carnival for the new events? Maybe those promoters should have held off until we really reset, as we've been saying all morning, for 2024. And anybody can jump in here because I would love to hear from a Juve perspective as well.
For the Juve, I mean, the carnival weekend is different, right? Because Juve, Monday and Tuesday, you know, you make your decisions what you want to do right away. The events part of it, I mean, they had, according to Gleeson, they had so many on every given day of the weekend that, you know, it's impossible to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday for some people, for a lot of people.
Right.
You know, so they really then had to pick and choose. So some events, I think, did suffer in terms of where their target was going to be to what they actually got.
Right.
You know, Juve, well, we were happy to say that we got our target, you know, and I'm hoping that was the same for others.
But then what is it about the Coca crew that you think keeps patrons coming back year after year? How is it that you were able to survive when, let's say, other new Juve bands may have fallen by the wayside?
Well, we are around 29 years now, so we kind of like, we still there. We might not be the top speed like some of the younger bands, but, you know, we in the game a long time and, you know, we have a very loyal following over the years. And pleased to say that we got the Epic Cruise that came into Trinidad for Carnival. They chose us to play.
Okay.
The guy
so that was
who did the
definitely a
cruise,
boost.
so that was for us. That was a great assistance, you know, and a boost. You know, but the guy that did the cruise has always played with us.
Right.
So he knows what.
He knows what
to expect in terms of the service and the care that is given to our patrons, you know, and our masqueraders. And so that was a big help for us, you know, and it was great to have them on board. I think everybody had a great time.
Yeah.
You know, but it has a lot to do with how long you're in the game and the service that you give over the years, you know. And I think we've been good enough to maintain, you know, our service and what we provide to our masqueraders.
Listen, you know, talking about that service, do you think the promoters were able to maintain that quality service? Because earlier we were talking about how many apology notices went out because people were not able to maintain that service. Did you see other promoters, or were you even able to maintain that quality service that you always give to your patrons year after year?
Well, one of the things that we did was, again, taking into consideration the climate, the carnival climate this time around, people having options, people looking at their spending habits, we decided that we will cut back. And when I say cut back, readjust the positioning of the events. So instead of charging, let's say for example, we did shades all inclusive under New Wave Event Solutions. Normally we would charge about $850, $900 because it's a premium all inclusive. We actually started at $650, early birds, same premium event, but we started because we understood that people have options.
Right.
But for us, being a premium event, we adjusted the price to give that early persons who wanted those loyalists that early package, and then we increased it by 50, and then we increased it, and then we increased it. So we gave people the option, but we maintained the quality of the event. And then we also moved to a different venue as well, taking into consideration accessibility, suppliers. We have to take all these things into consideration, especially Carnival weekend.
But then, Gleeson, okay, so as a promoter, as somebody who has a Juve band, it is about profit as well, right? You are offering a service, but you want to see that profitability as well. How were you able to start out course, a lower price with the early birds, ensure that quality of service, but also ensure that there's a profit at the end of it all?
Well, for us, as I said, this year was a reset year. We weren't out to make profit. It was about resetting the brands. Because since last year we were having our conversation, how can we position ourselves back on the calendar of events and not gouge people out in terms of money? So for us, when we positioned the events, it was about resetting the brands, making sure that we didn't lose. And if we made any profit, it was not sustainable amount of. It was just we are very comfortable with what we made. People had a good time. The tickets were very low entry in terms of affordable and accessible. The quality of the events still remain. I mean, anybody who went to Shades, and a lot of people are saying, as far as they're concerned, it's the best breakfast party for Trinidad and Tobago Carnival.
Those are fighting words,
right? Fighting words, right? When you came to the event, you would notice, I mean, from the decor to the infrastructure to the bands to the artists, but for the price, you couldn't complain to get Kess, to get Lyrical, to get Iowa, to get all of these artists and pay $650, $700, $800.
Yeah.
And premium, I mean, it's premium food. So for us, I saw it as when we were having the conversation, we wanted to reset all the brands that we did this year. So it wasn't about making money, it was about resetting because so for 2024, we go jam them. And when I say we jamming them, meaning people know what they got this year, so people know that, hey, we got our money's worth, so they have no problem coming back next year.
And as Cathy-Ann is saying, they know what to expect. Yeah?
Yes, correct.
All right. Well, let me thank you so much for coming in and sharing just from, of course, a promoter view of a Juve band view, and of course, all the best for 2024. I know that you guys are going to start preparing pretty soon, so thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Here on the Now Morning Show, we were just talking to Cathy-Ann Boucaud from the Coca crew, and of course, Gleeson Joe from House of Siete Marketing. Here on the Now Morning Show, we're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.
Carnival. I hear it in your voice, now you're